What's going on, guys? It's Gentleman here, and welcome to my review of the Overwatch League Grand Finals. So there's going to be a separate video coming out where I speak about the playoffs as a whole. I wanted to separate these two videos just because I didn't want the video to run too long. So this is just going to be focusing on Grand Finals because that's the thing that's most fresh in everybody's minds. And then I'll go over playoff, all the teams that performed to expectations, maybe some teams that underperformed in a separate video. But for now, we're talking about the Atlanta Reign versus the Shanghai Dragons in the 2021 Grand Finals. So, starting off, the event as a whole, this was obviously my first Grand Finals that I've actually ever been able to watch live. So, rating it as an experience as a whole, I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people said that it wasn't the greatest of Grand Finals, and I can kind of agree with that based off the game itself and how weirdly they structured it, which I'll get into as well. But they started off with a musical performance, which I don't know if he was a known singer or a known artist, but I didn't really know who he was. It was pretty decent. It was a good build up for the game that was going to ensue afterwards, but it was okay. Moving in, so we got the starting lineups. It was the same usual suspects, Lip, Bladder, Lee Gong, Izuyaki, Fate Void, Kai, Pelican, Hawk, Gator, Iris, and Masa. So both teams playing their strongest starting lineup. And we found out that the first map was going to be Helios. So obviously Shanghai getting the pick. This map was pretty much a shutout. I mean, Atlanta didn't even cap a single objective on their first control map, and this basically set the tone on how the rest of the series was going to ensue. So then, when we moved over to Hanamura, we had some crazy plays coming out from the Shanghai Dragons. We had players like Izuyaki and um I believe it was Izuyaki and Lep just trying to spawn camp them. Pelican just blind walking straight past the two of them. Izuyaki sleeping them and then killing Pelican, essentially killing the Atlanta Rain's first attack. And then they did not. They barely got and captured the 2 points. Honestly, it seemed for the longest time like the Atlanta Rain weren't going to cap a single point, but they managed to cap both points. So you give them that. That was really well played by the Rain. But then the second attack, they just couldn't get anything going on for the first point, and Shanghai full held them for the second attack. And all Shanghai then had to do was collapse onto the point, get a single tick, and net bang, they were in 2 maps up. Moving over to King's Row. Now, I know a lot of people have spoken about this. This is obviously the Atlanta Reigns map pick. This makes sense for them. This is a rush heavy map. It's clearly shown by how well they did in this map. Obviously, they still lost it, but they managed to cap 5 points. So you got 3 main points, and then they got 2 points after that, and then a little bit of progress, but it wasn't really much progress into the third point. So when Atlanta Reign could pick a map that they were confident on, you could kind of see them doing well. So like here in Kings Row, we had honestly, I thought Atlanta were going to cap all 6 points. They obviously didn't. Their momentum ended up getting halted after a pick on the last point, but it was still a very good push from the Rain, getting 5 points. Now, when the Shanghai Dragons came out, they completed the map obviously, and then they completed the map a second time, ultimately ending in a 6-5 victory for them. Like I said, I thought Atlanta Rain looked much stronger on this map. Still, there were some unforced errors coming out from the Atlanta Rain that the Shanghai Dragons didn't capitalize on, which ultimately led to them going down. But you can't really fault Atlanta for how they performed on Kings Row. You could maybe hold them for Ilios and Hanamura. Definitely, there were a lot of misplays coming out on Hanamura. Pelican just being one of them. But I think one thing that was very much it's almost gone under the radar is that Atlanta Reign came out, they played their rush style, and proved that they were the best rush team. I mean, you look at their run through the lower bracket. I mean, I'll go over it quickly. I'm gonna go over it in more detail, but I mean, they beat Shock, they beat Gladiators, and they beat the Fuel. They beat every single team in their region, every single team that also mirrored them on Rush, and they beat them 3-1 or 3-2. So they came out, they played their style, and it just wasn't enough for against the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai are just on another level, and it's just amazing to see how far they come. So we'll go over that in a second. Like I said, going into the last map, Havana. Um, Shanghai, I believe, attacked first. They completed the map. Sorry, no, they didn't. Rain. No, sorry. No, I'm misremembering. I'm sorry. The Rain attacked first. They got to the second point. They got halfway up the ramp, coming around to third point. And then all the Dragons had to do was push for those 2 points. They were looking like they could have won Havana. I'll be completely honest. It was very winnable for them. So was King's Row, but that's just how the series went. But going over Havana, there was a lot of points where I generally thought they could have held, especially on third point, they could have held them there. But they ended up getting back capped by Flatter, and it ultimately ended up splitting up the 2 teams, so 3 had to go and fight one team, and 3 had to go and fight the other team, and it's just a classic Shanghai strategy. I mean, they've been doing this for years. It's just where you have a pincer movement, essentially. We have a group of people go down one flank, a group of people go down main, and you all converge. You kind of like scissor the teams that like to play together in, and just pick them off from there. It was systematic from the Shanghai Dragons, I mean, across the entire series. So, quickly taking a break, I mean, this is about as jarring as it was in the actual stream. They had an Overwatch 2 exhibition match, consisting of Los Angeles Gladiators players and Washington Justice players. Now, a lot of people are wondering, well, where were the Shock players? Where were the Fuel players? It's more understandable why Fusion Chengdu players weren't there, because obviously they were in Korea, so they couldn't show test the thing in house, which is how they were doing it. So maybe there could have been a few Shock and Fuel players, but that something tells me they may have been a bit burnt out from the previous day's play. So yeah, that's understandable to a certain extent. The show match itself, I was very impressed with. I am looking forward to it, but I know it was a lot of mixed opinions coming out of it. A lot of people think it's just a balance patch for W1, which makes sense because obviously we can see the new heroes. A lot of people were just underwhelmed by what we saw, but from what we saw of them, from what we saw of the pro players playing it, I personally am excited for it. Not only just the feeling of me, or just tanks being tankier DPS, the Sombra rework, which was amazing to see. I love all of the changes they've done to Sombra. Maybe a little bit of a learning curve for me, and then the Bastion changes. Obviously, they had to show both of those in the show match. So we had people playing Bastion, we had people playing Sombra. But I think it was a very strong showing from both teams that we could see these mixed rosters come in and have a good level of cohesion with each other. They hadn't really scrimmed, I don't think. They play tested it a couple times, but this was a very good showing for Overwatch 2, I think. Um, and obviously we're going to get Overwatch 2 on Season 5 of Overwatch League, so we're going to get to see more of it then. They've also teased in the pre-show that we're going to be getting new heroes, potentially for Season 5, so fingers crossed that happens. But, overall, if I had to, rate this playoffs as a whole, I probably would say, I wouldn't say it's the worst. I still think that the Shock versus Titans finals was the worst. Not only was it a rivalry that had been built up the entire season, and it ultimately just came crumbling down. The Shock just demolished them 4-0, but there was thousands of fans in I believe it was in the stadium that they had, and then it's just ultimately that feels like more of a letdown than this. As soon as Atlanta Reign were confirmed as being the finalists, it was kind of like, yeah, okay, Shanghai are just going to run the house here, and they did. Obviously they only had one map pick, they dominated it on it, and then Atlanta tried to keep it close, but it was just Shanghai dominance through and through. I mean, this team is just on another level. Let Flatter, Izayaki, Fate, Void, Lee Jae Gong. I I just don't know who could stop this team. I mean, obviously they're going to be one player down. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the roster mania coming up. But I I'm going to make the statement and say that I believe the Shanghai Dragons are the most dominant team, keep in mind, not franchise, team of Overwatch 1. They won 2 stage finals in dominant fashion, have in mind. As soon as they got beat by Dallas in the June Joust, they dominated the lower bracket, and then they dominated Chengdu in the grand finals. Summer Showdown, they run the show there. And then obviously they ran the show through this entire upper bracket. I mean, they dropped 2 maps the entire stage, for God's sake. That says something. So, I'm gonna say it, yes, they are the most dominant team of Overwatch 1. They're not the most dominant franchise. I don't think a team that can go 0-42, 0-40 in the first season, and obviously losing the first 2 games of season 2, can really stand up to a team. Yes, Shock were shocking, pun not intended, in season 1. But as soon as season 2 came around, they were dominant. Obviously, we saw they won grand finals 2019 and 2020. So I still think the Shock are the most dominant franchise of Overwatch 1. But in terms of most dominant team, that definitely belongs to the 2021 Shanghai Dragons. And I truly do believe that Lep deserved MVP for grand finals. The man arguably should have won MVP for the regular season. So he's like, I'm just gonna go out and win another trophy, and he did. He is just on another level on the somber picks. And I mean, he just perfectly complements everything that Fleta wants to play, and it's just DPS dominance. That's what it felt like for the entirety of the grand finals. So, I'm going to quickly go over some other candidates that I think could have been MVP. I think Izayaki had an amazing game. I think Izayaki has been he's been recognized throughout the stages of the season, but I think he's kind of been like that underrated talent that the Shanghai Dragons have had all season. I mean, what a story for Izayaki and the Dragons as a whole. I mean, Izayaki started out obviously in the Knuckle season, he was on Valiant, he was very shaky. He was that kind of like a playmaker, he didn't really have much else to him. To come all this way and to become a grand finalist along with the Shanghai Dragons going from 0-42 to 4-0 in the grand finals in the playoffs, it's an amazing story, and I think it's a truly wonderful thing to cap off professional Overwatch professional Overwatch 1. We're going to be going on a whole new game, a whole new adventure starting in season 5, and I cannot wait. Um, Stay tuned, obviously, for more videos to come on the off season for season 5. Obviously, WrestleMania is happening. There's a few rumors going around right now that I'm not going to cover until they become like confirmed. But obviously, stay tuned for the breakdown of the playoffs, and then anything that happens with WrestleMania. But I did also want to cap this video off by saying that this channel will become kind of more of a variety gaming channel just while the off season's going on. I do want to cover more games while the off season's going on. We have games like Battlefield 2042 coming out, we have Halo Infinite coming out. Obviously, the main focus will still say Overwatch and Overwatch League, but there will still be other games mixed in here and there. If you want to see just me live, me playing games, if you want to hang out in the stream, then the link will be down below for my Twitch account. I'm trying to stream there semi-regularly now, so obviously the link's in the description. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link's also down in the description. That'd be very much appreciated. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!